What have you seen inside someone's home that made you view them differently? Ask Reddit. Wanakwak. Pills. All over the floor. Every room I went to had random pills on the ground. I picked them up and put them in a Ziploc when I was watching their cats. I let them know and they didn't seem to care. Watched their cats again months later and again found pills all over the place. So bizarre. Jens Gizmodo. 3376. IMACSI. I went to a residential burglary when I used to work at an agency in North Carolina. The homeowners were in their 70s. Their house was your typical grandparent's place with lace doilies everywhere, flowers, and photos all over the walls of the entire extended family. A table near his chair with hunting and fishing magazines. A table near her chair with knitting needles and yarn. The whole 9 yards you'd expect to see at Grandma and Grandpa's house, as the lady was showing me around with the officer to tell me what was stolen or moved. I came to a slightly ajar door next to the master bedroom suite. I asked her if anything had been moved in there. She said she wasn't too sure since she had called the police the moment they had gotten home from church and realized their house had been broken into. I elbowed open the door. Full-on sex dungeon room. Talking sex swing. Hooks on the ceilings with ropes. Restraints on boards nailed to the wall. Cuffs. Paddles. Floggers. Strap-on harnesses on hooks. Ball gags of various sizes. Video camera on a tripod. You name it. She looked around, put her hand on her chest and with what seemed a sigh of relief said, "No. Thank you, Lord. It looks like nothing was touched in here. I will never look at an old woman in a Peter Pan collar and flower-patterned dress the same now." Lisa Nitti CSI. 4880. Was watching their pups and was told extra blankets were in the bottom drawer. So was the make-at-home penis dildo mold kit. Dank hippie dude. 2791. They didn't own soap, like, no soap at all anywhere in their house. Loser Patrol. 15534. Trick-or-treating as a kid we were always scared to go to one neighbor's house. The yard, nor home, was well kept. Stories circulated the neighborhood for years that he was a mean man, had killed his family, etc. As a dare I ran up and rang the doorbell and as I tried to run away an older gentleman opened the door. He said, "I don't get many kids nowadays. Happy Halloween," and held out a bowl of yummy candy bars. I peeked in and it was a meticulously kept home on the inside. A little candle lit, neatly folded blankets and magazines next to his lazy boy chair. He was so kind. I believe his kids were grown and had moved away. Wife had passed away years ago. Made me not believe the rumors that get started about people. Medical_reputation 29. 33826. Sick. Went over to have a post-work smoke sesh. Dude's wife was strung out. Toddler just hanging out, an infant in a playpen, both unsupervised. Dog free roaming. Cigarette butts put out everywhere. And just piles of dog shit all over the house. I dipped immediately instead of smoking, told him exactly why, because his house was disgusting and I didn't feel comfortable getting stoned in front of children. Then I reported him to CPS and called my boss to let him know that if coworker didn't show up it's because I called CPS on him. My boss was pretty chill about it. Homeboy lost his job because of the charges he picked up. They found meth, coke, weed, popped him for distro, possession, illegal firearm possession, child endangerment, child neglect, and abuse of a minor. Apparently the kids were severely malnourished and misuse of welfare, WIC benefits. The Lazy Lardon. 5763. One family I went to visit had a room in their house that was set up for a college kid. Posters, TV, some weights, computer desk, even a half-empty cologne bottle on the desk. I asked them what college their son went to and they immediately changed the subject and the mom looked down and away. They said the room is rented out. I later found out their son could not get into the college he wanted and decided to commit suicide. They left his room exactly as it last was. I still think about them. Burger 419. 16,340. A girl I hung out with in college had me over to study together. We didn't have dorms. We lived close enough to just walk to college. So it was at her house. I saw this little colorful urn on her TV stand and I said, "Oh, that's a pretty pot." She got this really sad smile and replied, "Thanks, that's my daughter." I felt so bad. Spuzzle 91. 20,321. Cancer survivors of Reddit. What was the symptom that convinced you to see the doctor? Ask Reddit. Wise_organization_78. 8. No symptoms. My first mammogram. When I got home after they confirmed it, I still couldn't feel the lump. It was too deep. XA0 women. Go for mammograms. Quilt Worthy. 811. My wife was losing weight and then her lung collapsed. No pain. Trouble breathing. Stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer. Diagnosed 2019. Chemo. Immuno and radiation. She's been cancer-free going on 2 years. It is possible. Comfortable figure 17. 7,952. 2. I was putting on my bra one day and felt a lump the size of a golf ball. Freaked out and went to the ER. They did an ultrasound and said it was nothing but would schedule another ultrasound in 2 days. Did that one. And they said it was nothing. A couple days later, my doc called me because she saw that I had them done. She didn't trust the results and sent me to a breast assessment center. They did a mammogram and said that they would schedule a biopsy. Did the biopsy a week later. It was cancer. Within a month, it was the size of a softball and in my lymph nodes. Aggressive chemo, a double mastectomy, and a year's worth of maintenance chemo later. I am good. February 2nd I was 6 years cancer-free. Quote, Friblous. 18,840. One afternoon I finished peeing. And afterward, looking down, I noticed the water had a pink tint. No pain. Nothing. Went to a local urologist who set up some simple tests. My left kidney was completely eaten up with cancer. Except for that pink water. No other symptoms. Had surgery. No more problems. Shatterjacks. 14,809. I was told I had an ovarian cyst at 32. My doc said he would do a needle aspiration to shrink it. Then he later said after that procedure it was the type to always come back, so he did surgery to remove the cyst. A few months later he said the cyst was back and I needed to have the ovary removed, so he did that surgery. Each time I was told it was not cancerous. A short while later the town I lived in had a news story on that featured a new doc they had hired who was a GYN oncologist. My dad insisted I go see him. I felt it was ridiculous since I had been told 3 times it was not cancer, but he was so worked up and worried. I set an appointment and was surprisingly told to come that week on a Friday and would be his last appointment for the day. My mom went with me as she was also worried. He had me come inside his office and told me he would be performing a total hysterectomy on Monday morning. And then samples from my abdomen would be collected many times when he washed the area. Saline. I was dumbfounded and asked him what he was talking about as I knew I didn't have cancer. He said, "Oh, no, you do for sure. I have wondered where you have been for months. I told your doc after I read the slide in the hospital you had a very rare form of ovarian cancer. And because he did a needle aspiration he may have allowed cancer cells to escape. I think my original doc messed up and keep trying to correct the problem. Whoa, telling me he messed up. I am now 61 and have been cancer-free for almost 30 years. Proud_pug. 1671. Pyongyang blood. Found out I had stage 4 renal cancer. Haven't beat it yet, but I am kicking its ass. Wolfgangsta 702. 9083. When I was 6 I had cold, flu symptoms. Mom took me to the doctor. And they said that's what it was. My mom convinced them to do blood work because she felt it was something else. Ended up being leukemia, and we were lucky to have caught it early. Still alive over 35 years later. JPOM 4545. 5136. Deleted. 9091. What's an insult you've heard that went too far? Ask Reddit. Dancio. I worked with a guy whose reaction was always disproportionate. After he had a haircut, another colleague said, "Did you have a fight with a lawnmower?" And he replied, "At least I'm not a pathetic loser whose wife left him." Okay, not much of a joke, but definitely too far. Gullible Function 649. 17,250. Group of girls I met whilst traveling after uni. One night at a party, 2 of them got angry with each other for some reason, and one shouted at YHE. Other, "Well, at least I have a clit." Turned out the other one had been born without a clitoris. Seemed really nasty after we found that out. Mike's 005. 9001. I once heard a man fighting with the mother of his child. The kid was still a baby and her body hadn't gotten back to what it was before being pregnant. It was a pretty heated argument, with both the man and woman saying some shitty things. The woman threatened to leave him and he said, "Like anyone else would want you with your slop gut. And your orangutan titties." She just went silent after that. Shit was 20 years ago and I still remember that. B. Boyd 297. 17,318. I told my 4-year-old she's a wild woman. She responded with, "You're a wide woman." Calcium V. 7,430. I heard a kid say to this other kid once, "After I finish with you, you will be in the same place where your mom is." The thing is, the other kid lost his mom a few weeks back to leukemia. Death_blur 24. 5,390. A classmate in high school was dumped by his GF, had his parents divorce, and then failed all his exams all in quick succession. He was clearly depressed and complaining about how unlucky he was. A couple of other guys snarkily said, "Whoa, your life sucks. If I were you, I'd just kill myself." That weekend he did exactly that. He jumped off an 8-story condo. Heroic Forger. 3,182. I used to hang out with a guy from my class in high school. He was pretty good with the ladies and naturally I asked him for tips. Bro straight up told me, "You're ugly, that's why they're not attracted to you." It was brutal and still hurts after 10 years. The fact that I am the least successful person in my friends group when it comes to dating still makes me think back at that comment. Enemy stand user 96. 3,418. In a heated argument, my sister said that her friend asked her, "Why are your brother's friends so cute but he's so fucking ugly?" Fight finished. It's one of these thoughts that randomly come around again to keep me up at night. Hence commenting this at 3 a.m. Rowdy_Roddy_Peeper. 3,495. How valid do you think the saying, "Men are only loved under the condition they can provide something," is in today's society? Ask Reddit. Pink Palm Trees 65. I got chronically ill in 2019 to the point where I really wasn't working at all. And my wife stuck with me through that and essentially nursed me back to health. Keeping in mind, anyone who sees us as a couple will definitely observe that I am punching above my weight grade. With her as well. So as far as the saying goes, I think it really depends on the person in question. It's not been my experience. For whatever reason. Maybe she's psychic and knows I win $1 billion in the lottery in the future or something. My wife seems quite attached to me. Ray J. Moore 85. 4,659. I've become disabled due to an ankle injury in the last 3 years. Most of my friends joke and treat me with contempt sometimes. I miss out on a lot. My GF gets frustrated with me not being able to still be the person she expected to be. I have to say no to a lot, and as I am in constant pain, I find it hard to think outside of my own box, which lets her down a lot of the time. However, I do try more than she acknowledges. It would be easy to say I give up and stop working and live off the state entirely. Get a cheap council house. I know she wouldn't want to live with me in one, so I still have the expectations upon me of a normal, healthy, functioning man, which I am not. And when I don't meet them, people get frustrated, which makes me less in their eyes. The only people this hasn't happened with is my parents and a couple of very close friends. Hematoman 201. I mean, technically speaking, it's true. They need to provide something. Love, affection, protection, income. If they provide absolutely nothing, then they won't be loved by a partner. But that doesn't just fall under men but everyone. You go into a relationship with no motive or drive for anything and nothing will come about it. You can't give nothing and expect everything. Captain Itz 2743. I think it's pretty rare for anyone to love someone who's not providing something they need, like, want. What is love without appreciation? Quote, Frisco Gone Wild 1051. I don't know. For most of the women in my life, they love, or tolerate, their men for providing absolutely nothing. I wish I was kidding. It's like watching mommy parent a grown man child they didn't even birth. Chaotic Neutral 27. 1325. No one loves anything that doesn't fill some need. Scary _compote _359, 310. Yes. People think that the something is material or financial, but it isn't. It's about personality and the ability to engage with other people and to be emotionally available. Quillian Du 265. 5. I think there are many ways to provide something, and that all relationships should be conditional. You should not stay with someone who makes your life worse. So, both parties should be bringing something to the table. Does my husband provide me money? No. But me provides company, humor, support, among other things. In a traditional dynamic, a man might provide money, but you better believe the woman is providing her services as a chef, house cleaner, nanny, EA, etc. Kitty says Woof 91. 46.